I'm really excited to play Seoul Dynasty. The majority of the roster is like very, very good, and I'm really inspired by Fleta. I think he's one of the best DPS players in the world. So I think Fleta and Seoul Dynasty are the teams I'm looking forward to playing against most.
There's your teaser. Now you're engaged. Here's where we added a bunch of useless video effects. And now, on to the interview with Agilities. All right, so I am Kevin with Rivalry, and we are here with Agilities. How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. For people that don't know about you, who are you? What's kind of the quick intro? Who is Agilities?
Well, I started playing professionally in 2016. I've been playing Overwatch for a couple years now. I played mainly DPS, mainly Genji, and yeah, I play for LA Valiant.
Nice. What was kind of your path there? Were you kind of just like a pub player that found its way? Like, how did you get introduced to the organization? How did you kind of work into that?
Yeah, I started as a pub player, and then a team called Sody Pop asked to try me out, and then I tried out for that team, and then we did get into a couple tournaments, and eventually became Immortals, which became LA Valiant.
Yeah, nice. So how does that work for like aspiring, people that want to do the pro scene? They're a great pub player. Do people just kind of crawl the ladder results and reach out to the top people, you think, or like what's
kind of. I mean, it's different with Overwatch League now because there's not like back then it wasn't as big of a scene, but with Overwatch League it's kind of harder, so you have to kind of work from contenders or like a smaller tournament and then build back up from there.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So you have week one in the books. How was that? Like, have you ever played in a stage or an arena like that before? Like watching as a spectator is spectacular. Mm-hmm. Like, was it nerve wracking at all, or just once you're in front of the screen, you're comfortable? Like, how was it for you?
Yeah, it's pretty much nerve wracking before you're in front of the screen, but when you get to that point, it's better from there. I mean, I've played in I think 4 LANs in Overwatch so far, including the World Cup, which was like humongous. So yeah. I think that my nerves have kind of toned down in that sense, but it's obviously nerve wracking. Just playing in that huge of a crowd.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So for non-Overwatch fans, someone that's into Dota, Counter-Strike, League, any of these other games. What do you think is appealing for spectators? Like, why should someone watch? Like, do you think it's a game that is watched mostly by Overwatch players, or do you think like someone that likes Counter-Strike can pop on the stream and watch it and get something out of it?
Honestly, I think that it's mainly catered towards Overwatch players because sometimes it's hard to understand what's happening with the Spectator client. But obviously, like CS:GO players and Dota players can get into it because Overwatch is a very fun game to watch, just because of like the fact that players can pop off at any time and it's very entertaining. Yep. But yeah, I'd say mainly Overwatch players watch it because I mean it's easier to understand for them.
Yeah, so if you're a non-Overwatch player and you're watching, I mean, that's been one of the criticisms, right? It's chaotic. There's a lot going on. So if you're just that person that's not into gaming, I sit down with a friend that just plays Dota and throw in Overwatch. You can kind of, the commentators do a great job explaining kind of what's going on in the game and pull. But if you don't know this, it's kind of the same for anything, though. If you don't know the spells or the heroes or the champions, whatever the game may be, you're not going to really have an appreciation for the game. So that kind of makes sense that it's catered towards Overwatch players. So do you think, one of the complaints many, I guess, months ago was the spectator experience is no good, and they did a lot of great things like mini-map, team colorization, things like that to kind of make it better, and I think it's helped dramatically. Do you still think there's kind of room for improvement? I mean, the game's still very mature in the grand scheme of things. Do you think there's things that kind of Blizzard and broadcasters will do to make it more accessible over time, or do you think they've kind of done all they can do?
I think that they definitely will make improvements, like, in the future, because it's definitely, like you said, in the early stages. So I think what they did already is very good. And then the way the commentators explain it is also very helpful. But like in general, the game is chaotic to watch still. And it's not like really Blizzard's fault because with a game like Overwatch, it's obviously going to be hard to watch. So they just need to kind of figure out a way to make it more accessible to like non-Overwatch players and, just everyone in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's insanely fun to play. And like you said, chaotic. It doesn't feel as chaotic when you're playing it, but watching, as a player, you're one person, look at the other team and your teammates. But as a spectator, you're trying to watch 12 people. Do you think, I mean, the game is it's a masterpiece as far as balance and playing it. Do you think there's like an opportunity to slow it down, or that's really not the style of the game, though? That would really take away from it, I'd imagine. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I mean, the game's very fast-paced, and that's why a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
And like you said, playing it is a completely different story, but watching it, even as a pro player, like I get confused sometimes.
Yep.
I think Blizzard just has to find a workaround for that.
Yeah, it'll come with time too, right? Like as you do certain combinations of things happening, as you kind of watch the game more and more, you'll probably get a quicker understanding of it. Because I remember the first time like I watched a Dota match, there's 4 or 5 spells per hero. It's pure chaos, so you really don't know what's going on. Now after I've watched hundreds of them, you kind of know what's coming and the strategies and things like that. one question would be like, what do you think about the Pacific versus Atlantic divisions as far as strength? Like, I think in week one, each division won 6 games. Is it fairly well balanced, do you think? I mean, 6-6 obviously is well balanced. But do you feel that Pacific or Atlantic has is stronger overall, or it is a pretty even balance?
I think it's pretty even. I think Blizzard did a good job, and that's kind of what they intended. They didn't want one division to be like more powerful than the other, so they did a really good job balancing. I think they're even teams.
Sure. And as you are kind of moving forward, is there any, you've already played 2 teams, the Dallas Fuel and the Gladiators. Are there any like other players or teams that you're kind of looking forward to playing to? Like I know even during the Worlds, people wanted to play against the South Koreans because they have kind of that prestige and people want to, take them down.
Yeah.
Are there any other like specific players or teams you're like, I just can't wait to play them?
I'm really excited to play Seoul Dynasty. The majority of the roster is like very, very good, and I'm really inspired by Fleta. I think he's one of the best DPS players in the world. So I think Fleta and Seoul Dynasty are the teams I'm looking forward to playing against the most.
Yeah. So when you're inspired by him, do you like it's part of your practice regimen or learning? Do you watch a lot of other players play and try to pick up tips? Like I'm less self-admittedly less familiar with the training regimen for Overwatch, but like for Dota, you study other teams' replays and learn everything about them. Is there that component in Overwatch for a training standpoint as well?
Yeah, there is for sure. I think when you're learning a different hero, especially, you can watch a player who's really good at a certain hero, and then you can pick up a lot of tips from him. Yeah. And then same goes for teams. Like you can see team play like just really well in VODs, so that's why we study VODs, and then we kind of try to match the greatest teams when it comes to like dive or any team comp, and then we kind of just go from there.
Yeah, for sure. And one other thing I'm curious about: do you think there will be different rivalries forming kind of within Overwatch League? Like, do you think there'll be the 2 LA teams will kind of be, mortal enemies because there's like localization, or do you think it doesn't really have to be close teams? Like you guys might become big rivals with the Seoul Dynasty because you guys are both in a lot of finals together. Like how do you think kind of rivalries within the space will play out?
I think the rivalries are going to be formed based off of how the teams play, because if a team like us and a team like Gladiators, I think we're just kind of a little far ahead of them right now, so I don't think that's the greatest rivalry. But like a team like Seoul Dynasty, we could see having a rivalry with, because they're so good and because we're good as well. So, I mean, it's going to be based off the matches and how well teams play together. Because people are like looking to be entertained, so the greatest teams going against each other is what's going to form a rivalry, in my opinion.
True. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because a lot of Overwatch League has been based off, other mainstream traditional sports things, football, basketball, otherwise. And like with the NFL, you have like, the Bengals Browns. The Bengals will beat them 9 times in a row, a bunch of times in a row, but yet it's a rivalry for some reason, just because it's kind of the Battle of Ohio. But I think gamers are a little less into the regional aspect and just more into like good esports. Like if you guys just have great, fantastic matches with any of the teams, that kind of rivalry will form itself, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. And do you watch any other esports, like as a fan, or have you played other games? Like, do you like to watch Counter-Strike, League, or Dota, anything like that, or?
I used to play a lot of League, and I was a big fan of Cloud9. I used to watch a lot of League esports with my friends back then, and a little bit of CSGO too. Nice.
So out of like all the other esports you've watched, are there any rivalries that kind of stand out in your mind, like Cloud9 versus TSM, or like North American rivalry, anything like that stands out? Like, is there any kind of, like in Dota, one of the big ones, like Navi Alliance, they've played, TI matches against each other, and just kind of those like the 2 big guys that play, so it's a huge rivalry. Is there anything, like what's your all-time favorite esports rivalry? I guess League in particular then.
League in particular, I think my favorite rivalry is probably C9 versus TSM, because those are like the most hyped up matches. I mean, they're the best players in the NA scene. I didn't really watch like the Worlds or anything like that, so I was a really big fan of Cloud9, and I just loved seeing the rivalry between C9 and TSM.
Yeah, awesome, cool. What are you kind of looking forward to as a player moving forward, like progressing as, like what's kind of your favorite thing coming up? Is it like just you're just 1 week at a time looking at week 2, or are you just kind of excited to see where the Overwatch scene goes as a whole? Are you excited to like, focus on other heroes to comp your team differently? Like what's kind of exciting for you in this space?
Honestly, I'm just very excited about improving right now. I know that season 1 is like a big goal for people to win it, but my main goal is to improve as much as possible and then carry that on. I think that a lot of people don't have that mindset, so having that is very good, and you can like really take in your practice and make it the best. Like if you have the best mindset, your practice is going to be better. So I feel like in that sense that I can improve faster and just kind of go from there, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, cool. Cool, man. Well, I don't have anything else. For people watching, there'll be plenty of fans watching that are Overwatch players and fans. There'll be plenty of people watching that aren't into Overwatch at all, what would you recommend for someone getting into this? Just kind of tune in to week 2, follow you on Twitch or follow you on Twitter and just kind of pay attention to things? Like, is there kind of a plug you want to have for people out there?
No, I don't have anything to plug, but I definitely say tune into Overwatch League. I mean, it's very entertaining. I mean, they're doing a great job. The average is at like 250,000 viewers, which is crazy. They're doing a great job explaining things to casual players, and I think just all around it's just very entertaining to watch. So yeah, tune into that.
Cool. We will definitely be tuning in. Hope people watching this will as well. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
See ya.
See ya.